is there a practical, nonpartisan impact for Latinos to have this representative as opposed to that one?
Absolutely. You know, in terms of how all of these trends and issues is affecting us, and, you know, from the USDA perspective, how it has the aggregate impact of the health and well-being of Latinos. I mean, immigration, we were just talking about immigration, SB 1070, it does have an impact, for instance, on the SNAP program. SNAP is the largest anti-hunger program in the country. It's helping more than 43 million people a month, which is pretty sobering. That means 1 out of every 7 individuals in the U.S. is getting this help. About 15% of those folks are Latinos. Nevertheless, although we're reaching somewhere between 5 and 7 million Hispanics through the program, we only have a participation rate of 56%. We actually just completed, USDA in 2010 completed a very successful community roundtable tour where we visited selectively those states that had the highest volume of what we term food insecure Hispanic households. Those are the same states that are now, we'll see the changes of the impact of redistricting. California, Texas, Florida, Illinois, New York, Texas, and you know, when you see the correlations, like earlier we were looking at the data patterns of redistricting, and I couldn't help but see the patterns of hunger and food insecurity and obesity. It's all connected. And so we completed these roundtable sessions. We had congressional members, elected officials, nuns, priests, teachers, union officials, you name it. And the whole point of it was to get together as a community, understanding, of course, their geographic differences between communities. New York is not Texas. Texas is not California. But still, we have to work together. We have to collaborate. We've been doing that wholeheartedly with our friends on the Hill. But it takes everyone. And I think that in terms of where we are in our health and obesity and how we're going to take care of ourselves and our families, we really have to all pitch in and do it together, because USDA is doing its part. Government can't do this alone, but all of this is definitely having an impact for us.
Along with the results of the election changing the nature of the House of Representatives, and of course making for a much closer partisan representation in the U.S. Senate, a lot of state houses underwent a lot of change after November's vote. What does that do to the redistricting process, Brent?
Well, it certainly makes it challenging if the folks that are getting in are not looking at making sure that Latino representation is strong. State houses obviously control the redistricting process. They are the ones that come up with the plans. It's very difficult in many states that are important to us to be able to have input into that process if the delegations are not supportive of the community. And so we, and that's when we come to MALDEF and say, we didn't do well with this process. And Latino districts, I mean, just an example, in Texas, there is an opportunity for 4 new seats. And that's almost entirely because of this growth of the Hispanic population. And yet there are those in Texas in leadership that are talking about not even including 2 of those seats for the Latino community, which you'd think, if anything, this would be 4. So, it's absolutely critical. I know that the last period that we went through with their districting process, unfortunately, on the front end, Latino organizations were not really given an opportunity to present our own maps, to present what we thought would be good plans, and so we did have to go to the courts and seek redress, and that may very well end up that way again, especially when you look at the way the state houses are right now, right at this moment. It's a troubling process. We're going to keep fighting though, and I think the key thing is it's great what MALDEF has done with their redistricting academy that they had in San Antonio, and also another partner, Naleo, just did one here in Washington. I think those are key efforts because we need to provide not just the legal support behind this redistricting process, but the political will as well. And as a community, we need to keep pushing to make sure that this is done right. We've grown in population. We have a right to be represented. There should be one person, one vote. That principle needs to stand, and we have to defend that principle.